What's up, everybody? It's Brad and Andrew from Auto Off Topic. The coloring contest is back, and now much improved thanks to super listener Frank Eck. The contest is simple. Complete one of the pages of the coloring book found on our Facebook page or the Auto Off Topic Coloring Contest Facebook page in any of two mediums. Digital, using any computer program, or analog, be it colored pencil, marker, crayon, watercolor, however you choose. One entry counted per medium per person. Each individual can have a total of 2 entries, one per format. There will also be 2 age groups, age 15 and below and ages 16 on up. Links to the coloring book pages can be found on our Facebook page and the Facebook page for the coloring contest.
Electronic entries, including scanned entries, can be sent to us via email, autoofftopicpodcast@gmail.com. Paper copies can be sent by snail mail to Auto Off Topic Podcast Contest, 83 Lakeshore Drive, Georgetown, Massachusetts, 01833. Note, all hard copies received will not be returned, period. The contest runs through November 30th.
The companies and owners groups donating prizes are Mitsubishi Motors North America, Adventure Driven Design, Forest Performance, Palladian Trucks, Northeast Mitsubishi 4x4, Mitsubishi Montero Owners Group of the USA, Florida Mitsubishi 4x4, and Mitsu Nation Facebook group.
Please enjoy this free contest, and don't forget, entries must be postmarked by November 30th, 2017. Good luck. So there we go, and it's on. Welcome to episode 53 of Auto Off Topic. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Brad.
And so this is the first episode since the lost episode.
Yes, the lost episode, which we're going to call 52 and a half, we just decided.
Yep.
Why was it lost?
Audio was really, really bad.
Yeah.
I'll play it for you later. Play for you later, Brad.
I'm not Keith. You don't co-host a podcast with Keith.
I don't know why that.
He hasn't even been a guest yet.
I don't know. It just popped into my head. So.
Nor I rank. Apparently, right below Keith.
I'll let you listen to it afterwards. It's not very good. But anyways, a bunch of stuff went down last week, and we'll get to that in the next episode.
So chill.
Yeah.
To the next episode.
But first, we have our buddy. Do you prefer Ken or Kenneth or
Ken's fine.
Ken Mitchell, and he's from Painted Bus. That's you on the internet, right? That's
my business. That's what
your
I do
business.
on the internet too.
So, Ken, you paint murals, and specifically you paint Volkswagen buses, is what you're really known for.
That is what I'm known for. But I'll paint pretty much anything. Vehicles are my namesake, though. Painted bus. Paint on old Volkswagen buses.
Yeah, we've seen some of your other work too. It's pretty good stuff. Your murals I've seen downtown Salem and.
You've seen the thing that I painted for your wedding too, Brad.
I have, yes.
It is a Volkswagen.
It is a Volkswagen part. Yes.
Yeah. And then you also work on air-cooled stuff on the side too, right?
I sure do.
One of your things, because I know you've got a friend that lives like around the corner from me here, and I'll drive by on the way home from work, and I'll see you out there working on his.
Yeah, you're right around the corner. You're actually right around the corner from somewhere I painted a mural, too.
Oh, yeah?
Just across the street here, I painted the Witch Doctor van not too long ago.
Oh, yeah?
Well, 3-4 years ago.
Did the Witch Doctor van get painted over?
It sure did.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Bummer.
What can you do? That's the nature of painting murals.
That's still one of my favorite stories because I met that guy. That's how I gave him your contact info.
That's right.
Yeah, because I was taking a long lunch because I was working a job that I hated, and I went down to the taco place in downtown Salem, and I just struck up a conversation with the guy sitting next to me, and he was looking for a guy to paint his van, and I was like, I know just the guy.
I'm uniquely qualified.
Yes.
Yeah, like specifically qualified.
I was like, I know a guy who not only likes to paint things, he really likes painting vans, so you're going to make something happen here.
Well, it was nice because it was a panel van. It had no windows in the way.
It was basically a giant canvas. Yeah.
Purple canvas.
Canvas nonetheless.
And then, you painted other stuff. In Salem, they had what are they, utility boxes? You painted one of those,
The electric
right?
boxes.
Yeah, the electrical boxes.
SAG boxes, I think they call them, something like that.
Yeah.
SAG box.
It's the Art Box program.
Yeah. What street is that one on?
That one's right
Corner
on
of Boston and Essex.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're in New England, in Salem, Massachusetts, if you come visit for like Halloween or something.
A lot of people will be here this month for that.
That's for sure.
So the corner of, what did you say, Boston?
Boston and Essex,
and
right
Essex
across
Street.
from Deb's Diner and Mandy's Pizza.
You can see Ken's art right there on the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's a ship being attacked by a kraken.
You got it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. That's
Well,
cool.
there's another one that's downtown now in Artist Row.
Another one of yours?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's about Winter Island.
Is that the seaplane?
Oh,
one?
That's right.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about another box. Okay.
No,
yeah,
not
the
another box. They only let you do that once.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think
Some of the
Peabody's
other ones are not as
starting to the town I live in now, Peabody, the town next to Salem, is starting to do stuff like that too.
Yeah, well, I know that Lynn and Salem and Peabody all have big mural programs going on right now.
Yeah.
Salem's doing this murals on the point thing. They're putting up, I don't know if you guys have
I saw building size.
putting over 50 of them up
Yeah.
within the next year.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. That's a neighborhood that needs some revitalization.
Yeah,
and that's going to really
and
help.
down the street here at it's Russelot is the company, but it used to be Eastman Kodak.
Yep.
I think I may have talked about this before, but is where all of the gelatin came from for Kodak film. Company is like next door to my house. But anyways, they were talking about in the news that they have a bunch of brick walls that face Washington Street, and they're going to paint murals on there. So that's
A
pretty cool.
bunch of them too. Probably like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Of them. So
And then they I don't know where it came from.
The Packy around the corner.
Yeah, this liquor store down here at the corner. They have a guy painting a mural on both sides of it because
cool.
it's just a big white
I'll have
building.
to check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, you could walk there from here when you leave.
It's hard to be a mural artist and not see canvases everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, any flat surface.
Yeah, any flat surface. Yeah.
No, I think it's really cool, especially in your own neighborhood. Like, I don't know I like looking at it.
It was cool to watch them doing the one watch the guy doing the one on the side of the liquor store on the street because
He was just using black spray paint.
he's a graffiti artist, I think, and he was using black spray paint, one can, one color, but he used it in varying levels to make this full photorealistic black and white picture.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty
I
amazing.
need to get more into spray paint. It's a lot more time efficient.
Yeah, it certainly is, especially outside of a building.
Yeah. So that to me, I don't know, drawing and painting stuff is like just beyond what my brain can comprehend.
Well, you also don't do it as a job.
No, I don't. But
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's like stick figures. Like that's what it look like.
I have, not to pat myself in the back, I have some basic drawing skills, but to make it something that's, profitable and something that somebody else wants to look at, I lack that edge. I can make a likeness of something, and you could probably tell what it is, but nobody would want to buy it and hang it on their wall.
Photography is good, but I can't draw.
Yeah.
So. I think it's just sometimes people are just wired to do it, right? I mean,
I don't know. I practiced a lot.
Yeah?
When everybody
okay.
was, playing around with their friends and stuff in school, I was out drawing and
All right.
painting pictures and doing all sorts of other stuff artistic-wise. It's just something that I always did. The fact that it's my profession now is not an accident.
yeah.
And a bonus to all that time spent.
Yeah,
well,
right.
what was it,
finally pays off.
Yeah.
10,000 hours, right? That's what they say.
Yeah, just
Yeah, well,
started
it's the same
early.
thing. Tom Brady didn't, start throwing a football and get signed by the Patriots. So
Yeah. No, that's true. You do have to practice.
we
stuff.
didn't start doing a podcast, and actually we did. Yeah,
Sometimes you do just have to start doing stuff.
and it's obvious that we don't practice this.
It's not bad.
Hey,
If
it
you do
sounds
say
like a
so yourself.
podcast when I listen to it online.
All right, excellent. Sounds like a podcast.
My goal was
That's the best backdoor compliment I've ever gotten. Well, sounds like a podcast. All right, good.
my goal was that as long as the audio sounded good, the content would come second.
Yeah,
Because when a podcast doesn't sound very good, I just don't want to listen to it.
no, that's true. There's a few of those.
That's why I ditched last week's episode because it was
Okay.
just not great.
Okay, I got you.
The content was fine, but it was just like I think we had our cell phones too close to the recorder. It was like picking that up.
Oh, it was the whole thing. Well, plus we were driving my diesel truck, towing a trailer, so there was just all kinds of noise
It wasn't
bouncing around.
super interesting either. Yeah. At least when we did it in the WRX, you could hear the WRX in the background. It was
Yeah,
like kind
not
of
just
fun.
Yeah, it
not just
sounds
a
good.
diesel at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah. So, anyway, I guess we'll get right into it. And we were kind of curious, Ken, we'll start off. What was your first car?
This should be no surprise.
No?
No. 1978 Volkswagen bus.
Nice.
That was your first car as well.
It was my first car.
Excellent. Because when I met you, you had a Beetle, not a bus.
Well, that was the exception.
Yeah.
Do you know what my second car was?
I'm going to go with a bus.
It was a 1971 Volkswagen bus.
Okay, so you bounced around with different bay window years for a while.
The next one was a Vanagon.
Okay.
It's an 82.
All right. So we switched to water cooled.
No,
No,
82 was still air
Oh,
cooled.
yeah.
You still
See,
had
I
a
don't
year
know.
and,
I don't know.
year and change of
I'm gonna learn a lot of things about Volkswagens
Oh
tonight.
yeah, all sorts of really important stuff.
So, what drew you to Volkswagens? What made you an air-cooled guy?
Well, I like Volkswagens because my dad got me into it more or less. He used to have a Nissan pickup truck, and he drove it around. He drove me around and my buddies around, and I played cello, and my buddy played cello, and my other buddy played bass, and we'd throw all these, wooden instruments in the back of the truck, and we'd all cram into the little back of the extended cab and go everywhere. Well, one day my dad was driving down the road, and the oil plug fell out, and he seized his motor. And so we needed a new vehicle. And so we're looking around. We found one, 1978 Volkswagen bus, the first one, not the one I have now. And it fit a bass and 2 cellos.
Yep.
And that was basically it. It was more out of the fact that it was available and it was cheap and it hauled all our stuff. And
It fit that stuff, and it fit 3 people more comfortably than an extended cab Nissan pickup.
very much so. Sit in those little sideways jump seats
Yeah.
in the back. Even as a middle schooler, it was too tight.
Growing up, my father had an 82 extended cab Nissan pickup, so I remember very well the sideways jump seats in the back.
Yeah, not fun.
Yeah.
The bus has a lot more room, very much so.
S10s were like that too.
Yep.
Not great.
No. But I don't know. My dad wasn't really as into the Volkswagens as I was, but I really like the fact that they're simple, really straightforward.
They're quite simple.
And I guess in the back of my mind, I always wanted to be self-sufficient in that respect. I always wanted to understand what was going on, so I kind of latched onto it, idealizing it more or less for a number of years before I really started working on them on my own. But once I did, it really kind of came true. Being self-sufficient and carrying all my own tools and doing my own work, really.
Breaking down the highway and fixing it yourself.
Yes, 81. I've rebuilt the top end of my engine on the side of 81
Yep.
down in Virginia.
So the stereotypical mural artist driving the Volkswagen bus didn't happen as a science. It just kind of happened that you happened to get a bus and you happened to like to paint.
Yeah, it's very organic like that.
Yeah.
Which I think it's kind of like what does Ken do? Oh, he drives around and paints murals in his Volkswagen bus. Oh, that sounds very idyllic, but it also sounds very like, of course he does. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, your mural artist friend drives a Volkswagen? Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they kind of go hand in hand.
Story checks out.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But it wasn't on purpose. It just kind of happened. It wasn't like, I want a bus to drive around and do this painting. It was just kind of like,
the bus,
you had a bus to carry your instrument, and then eventually you got into the painting thing as a profession, and then just already happened to have a bus, so it worked.
It worked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually often wondered about that, but
Those buses were also inexpensive at the time, right? And now they're buses have kind of come up.
Yeah. When we bought the bus in 1998, we bought it for $750.
which is awesome.
Which is awesome.
That's,
It didn't have
that's $50 under our wheelhouse price of $800.
That's right.
that same bus now in 2017 would probably go for about $15,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is frightening.
It
must have been a nice one then, or a halfway decent one.
Well, the guy had bought it new, and then he had used it only to move his stuff from one military base to the other. And so when we bought it, it had 13,000 miles on it.
Jesus. Yeah, that would be a big money car now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
crazy.
very much so. And it just had surface rust, which is crazy here in New England. It had no cancerous rust, no major issues. But that definitely motivated me to learn more about it, because after a while we depended on a mechanic to fix it, and he didn't tighten down a fuel line, and that bus burst into flames and burned to the ground, which is too bad.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
happens.
it's set up. Was that me? Sorry, one of us is beeping.
Yeah.
I don't think it's me.
Oh, shoot.
Oh,
That's all right.
That's me. I'm sorry.
You're the guest. We won't beat you too hard.
Well, somebody's bought a bus, and they're letting me know.
Oh, okay. I feel like I would do that too if I bought a bus.
Yeah,
I'd be
that's
like,
true.
I'd probably call you before I called Andrew. I'd be like, hey, actually Andrew'd probably be with me. But
Yeah, you guys would be together.
yeah.
I'd tell you the secret,
Yeah,
secret junkyards to go
cool
to.
Yeah. Speaking of, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Secret junkyard.
I want to know about that secret junkyard.
It's
Yeah.
a cool one.
I saw pictures and I'm a little jealous. Also, you said pictures of a rabbit to somebody, to Sean, our friend Sean, the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Was that in that secret junkyard?
No, that's here in Salem.
Oh, is that over at Dave's?
Yep. It's in
It looks
Deja.
too nice for that.
It's a diesel.
Is it really?
Yep.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Don't give Brad any bad ideas right now. He's got too many broken cars.
Why,
already.
How many broken cars do you have, Brett?
So I guess that kind of, so air-cooled cars are just kind of started with it, right? And just
Became a force of habit.
they're just simple to work on and
Yeah, I mean,
easy to learn.
when you become the guy driving the Volkswagen bus, you are the guy driving the Volkswagen bus. And you kind of get associated with it. Even in high school when I was driving the Volkswagen bus, I was always the guy with the bus.
Yep.
And
Especially nowadays because they're not common anymore.
well, it depends on where you are, but yeah.
In Massachusetts.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts.
New England, Rust Belt,
Not common.
not common.
Yeah,
Oh.
outside of Portland, Oregon, you're one of many, but here
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Salem, Massachusetts, you're the guy.
Give it about 4 or 5 days, and Salem's going to be full of buses because we got the Lars Anderson show this weekend,
That's this weekend?
Transporter Fest on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
We're going to
Okay.
have tons and tons
So
of
you're
buses.
doing
We have
the
about
camp out?
50 buses over at Winter Island this weekend.
Maybe I'll have to swing by
okay.
and
You should.
shoot some pictures.
So there you go. There's an alert. There'll be a bunch of Volkswagen buses on the North Shore. You can check them out.
Yeah.
Winter Island.
And they're
If
all
you-
going to
They're all going to
Lars
Lars
Anderson on Sunday.
Yeah.
Transporter Day.
Yeah.
Transporter Volkswagen Day. So it's all.
It's Transporter
Transporter-
Fest. That's the name of it. So
okay.
they've opened it up pretty much to
Yeah, originally I think it was just buses.
Buses, yeah.
And now it's pretty much anything that's got a VW badge.
Yep.
It's
So
nice
I know
show.
I've been there with my NSU before, actually.
Yeah, you
Air-cooled.
qualify. It's
Kind of.
air-cooled.
Yeah, it's air cooled and kind of owned by Volkswagen.
It's in the
so-
family.
Well, they were pretty excited to see it. I think you were with
odd.
me, actually,
Yeah.
weren't you? They parked us right up front and they made a special mention, and it was pretty cool. I think the guy's name is Stan.
Yeah, Stan Wolfhard.
Yeah, Stan made a special mention. And, thanks for bringing
Oh.
out the NSU, and it's really cool to see it. Can't wait to see it next year. Unfortunately, I haven't made it since,
No.
but
Well,
Yeah,
hey, it's,
I know
it's
that
on
name
Sunday,
from
Brad.
the car won't be there, but I may be there.
you may be there.
Yeah.
Well, if you're up bright and early, we're going to take almost all the buses that will be down at the Willows or at Winter Island, and we take this huge bus caravan, a huge line of about 30 buses, and drive down 95 down to the park. It's
That
quite the
sounds,
scene on the highway.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
All in the right lane.
All in the right lane, all going 60 miles an hour. You can drive past us all and get it on your video.
That sounds interesting, actually. We may have to check that out. I don't know what's going on Sunday. You have stuff going on Sunday?
I think there's also a model car show you were talking about going to.
There is, but this sounds cooler.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Okay, artist. We kind of touched on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you to this point in your life where you are making a living painting murals?
I took the interest of painting and drawing and stuff, and initially I'd gone to school for music, for the cello, and I kind of burnt out on that, and I wanted to continue in school, but I wanted to stay in creative arts, and so I kind of took a more serious look at my visual art aspect, and it was one of those things where I had all these paintings up in my studio apartment, and all my friends from music school would come by and they'd say, "Wow, these are great paintings. Why are you in the music department?"
Okay.
And so I transferred over to the visual art department. I was really happy there, and one of my teachers, professors, Mike Alwitz, is a pretty well-known mural artist. He's painted a lot of murals all over the world, really. But he runs I guess he's retired now, but he ran one of the only street art / mural programs that you could take at any school in the
As a
United
course,
States
yeah.
as a course. I couldn't major in it, but I essentially did.
What school is this?
Central Connecticut State University
Okay.
in New Britain. But he kind of taught me the basics, but I actually went into school with a couple of mural painted buses under my belt already.
Okay.
And so I had an idea of what I wanted to learn, and I took all the lessons that I was taught in these mural specific classes and painting and stuff, and I really just applied it to what I wanted to do, which was painting on cars. Cars are good for painting murals on. A lot of people will commission art, and will hang up in their house, or they'll hang it in a museum, they'll hang it somewhere where most of the population won't see it.
Yeah.
And so the idea behind me painting on vehicles, specifically buses, came out of the idea that, I'm driving down, going to work, and, everybody's driving something boring and beige and dark green or black or, you kind of see all the same colors around here. New England's not really known for expressing themselves through
No, they're definitely
vehicles.
not.
No, Yankee conservatism.
There you go. And so I said, well, what would be really nice would be, just driving down the street, and then out of nowhere you got this bright, colorful Volkswagen bus, Volkswagen initially, but any car really. Something rolling down the road just kind of distract you from, the mundane, everyday, And
it seems more acceptable on a Volkswagen bus than it does on, say, like an '89 Camry.
Well, Jessica wants me to paint sunflowers all over our XT out front.
Which is fine, too. I'm not saying it's not acceptable. I'm just saying it's more acceptable.
It is, yeah.
You could probably get away with it on a Subaru.
Yeah, a Subaru is pretty second, yeah. Especially a Subaru wagon would definitely be second in the span of cars you expect to see painted up.
Well, I like the bus because they got the big, giant, flat sides.
Yeah, it's really it's like a canvas.
A rolling billboard.
Yep.
Now with the giant fiberglass high top I'm in the process of riveting to the roof of my bus, I'll have even more canvas to work with.
Although you haven't painted your own bus.
Well, that's because I have to do body work.
Okay.
I do live in New England.
Yeah. Well, you won't have to do any body work to the new high roof, so you can start painting right away.
There's no rust in the fiberglass, thankfully.
Yeah. It's not a Trabant. They're the only cars that had rusting fiberglass because it was metal woven.
Oh man,
fiberglass.
Yeah.
Bad ideas.
What?
Yeah.
I forget, what year was that bus?
The one that I have now is mostly a 78. The body's a 78. That's what it's registered as.
Yeah.
But really, that's about it. Everything else is from all sorts of different years.
And it was a Champagne edition, correct?
It was a Champagne edition. There's the only thing left about that is the brown dashboard and the intermittent wipers, which were an upscaled deluxe option in 1978 on Volkswagens. You couldn't get that on any other Volkswagen bus.
Well, you joke around about that, but I drive Colts, so I don't know what intermittent wipers are either.
Oh, there you go.
So they're either on or off.
Intermittent is how fast you flick the switch.
Yeah.
That's how intermittent is.
Well, it's funny because the intermittent on my bus, you set it, and there's like a solid 40, 45 seconds between swipes, and it doesn't help anything unless it's just like misting heavily.
Driving through fog, it might help a little bit. It's very similar in the Colt too. That does have it.
It's a bragging right.
Yes.
No other bus has intermittent wipers
except for 78 Champagne 2 or Champagne Edition. I mean,
Champagne Edition. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
All right, so you paint murals and you paint Volkswagen buses, and your company is called Painted Bus. And I know that you've traveled quite a bit up and down the East Coast. Have you traveled out west driving this your 78 around to paint murals? Or
usually if it's really far-flung, like I've painted in California. I've painted in Prince Edward Island, Canada. Usually if it's really far-flung, I'll fly out to them.
Yeah.
Or the one in PEI, we took the Subaru just because it was cold and Subaru's fast.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I drive in my bus up and down the East Coast. This year's been an exception, but usually I'll go on 2 or 3, couple 1,000-mile road trips.
Kind of line up people in an area like, hey, I'm going to be down through here if you want your bus painted.
Yeah. Let's see, for example, last year I started here in Salem, and I drove from here down to Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
And like Brad's wedding engine hatch that I painted.
Right.
I painted an engine hatch for a Beetle, and I touched up an old mural that I did that was in Virginia Beach. And then from there, I went and painted a 1968 panel bus in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And then from there, I went down to Georgia. Actually stopped and went to the YU Buggin VW show at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We camped outside there, and they had the VW show on the premises, which was pretty cool.
That's very
cool. And then
cool.
they let all the Volkswagens drive around the track.
Parade laps?
Yeah, parade laps.
200 miles an hour parade laps?
No. I think they were flat out, but I think it was only about 55.
Yeah. Try to climb the banking was a little tough.
Yeah. And then from there, I went up to Claremont, Georgia, and kind of moseyed my way back and picked up my wife in Savannah, and we took a nice long trip back up the coast and stopped at all the beaches, which have been washed away from hurricanes this past year.
Yeah, it was pretty rough last year.
Yeah, last year and this year.
Yeah.
So picked up your wife. You mean you flew down there and you met her there? You didn't like meet her there and you got married?
No.
Just to clarify for our listeners. Yeah.
Been married for 8 years.
Yes.
Didn't find her last year on the road.
That'd be an amazing story, but you're much happier being the way you did it anyway.
No, she tends to fly down usually right before I finish a project, and usually when I'm in proximity to the beach.
Seems to be a pattern there.
Yeah, she's done that in Florida, and Georgia, and South Carolina.
I can't say that I blame her.
Yeah,
No.
That's a pretty good plan.
Yeah, she doesn't want to sit in some dirty garage painting a mural for
weeks at a time,
hundreds and thousands of hours, and sit there and watch me paint. But if she gets there a couple days early, she'll be more than happy to sit on the beach in the sunshine.
Yeah.
And to see the finishing product is probably more satisfying to her anyway.
See the finished product.
Be like, hey, my husband did this. That's awesome.
Gather the accolades.
Yes.
Then head off on a nice road trip home.
Yep.
Although she has helped me on a number of them before.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
She's flown down to Florida and helped me paint down there. And then she went with me up to Prince Edward Island and helped me paint up there. And she's helped me paint on a couple of them. She's a good mural helper, that's for sure.
Excellent.
What kind of paint do you use?
Well, I did a lot of research on this. There's a couple of different ways of going about it.
I mean, certainly don't give away any of your secrets. If
There's no
secrets.
secrets.
Okay.
There's no secrets.
All right.
It's pretty straightforward. I use sign painting materials.
Okay.
I usually use paint called one-shot sign painter's enamel.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people use for pinstriping or lettering on old cars or signs or anything. I add a hardener to it, and the paint's really wonderful. It's designed to be a pinstripe final coat sort of deal. You can clear coat over it if you want to, but you can get it in any color of the rainbow. It's pretty light, fast. It's got an etching medium into it, so you can paint on pretty much anything.
It adheres pretty well.
Yep, it grabs on.
Interesting.
I'd say it's about 80% as tough as regular paint, so as long as people are not trail bashing their vehicles.
Right. And if you are, clear coat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you are clear coated, it's in good shape. Most of them that I've seen that have been clear coated, because I don't do the clear coats, it takes a couple of weeks for it to
Cure up enough. Yeah.
Most of them that I've seen that have clear coats have held up really, really well over the years.
Excellent. So we know Painted Bus paints buses.
Yep.
What exactly is, I guess if you could say, what is the Painted Bus business model? If somebody wanted to have you paint something for them, what are your parameters? What do you like to paint other than buses? And what would you do for somebody if somebody wanted to contact you and be like, hey, I want this guy to paint my stuff?
Well, to be honest, most of the time people contact me as a result of seeing one of my vehicles and talking to the owner.
Right.
It's almost all word of mouth. But
Dog sneeze.
I maintain a small Facebook presence. I post my stuff on there. But honestly, I'm kept pretty busy just by word of mouth. I don't really do any advertising or anything like that. If I'm not painting murals, I've got lots of logo work for all these other people because, believe it or not, the air-cooled Volkswagen community is extensive.
Yes.
There's lots of people.
Yes,
Once you
it
get
is.
your name out there as being a creative sort, the commissions tend to come flying in, especially at this time of year as the holidays approach.
Gifts and whatnot.
I'll be hiding away in my art studio, not playing with my Volkswagen.
But what? So what else? Again, what do you like doing other than buses? What's a? If you had to pick something you had to do all the time. Is it maybe sign painting for like a business or murals or what's your?
Well, I do enjoy painting the murals. Most of my work that I do is just little commission painting, sometimes portraits.
Mm-hmm.
It's really kind of all across the board. Anything that requires creativity and ends up with a picture in the end. I've done dog portraits. I've done, car portraits, because a lot of people like that sort of thing.
Especially in the Volkswagen world, I'm sure.
In any world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've done Mitsubishis before, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'd love to see that, actually.
I've done all sorts of things, but basically it's, logo design. If you're an artist, you got to be all across the board. Anything that comes your way, you got to scoop it up. I supplement my income by working on Volkswagens, and I do a lot of house painting and just whatever comes my way, really, But there are a number of air-cooled VW people all around this area that I keep happy. They're Volkswagens. Always need something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to supplement the painting and stuff by doing that.
So we won't have to promote you too hard because you already got a pretty good promotion, but we're still going to try a little bit to help you out.
Hey, I'll take it.
We don't have millions of listeners, but we have a good number now, and it'd be be awesome.
Hello, listeners.
Yeah, it'd be awesome if some of them came your way from this little podcast. It'd be a little pat in our back.
There's definitely some Volkswagen fans out in
absolutely.
California.
We have some Volkswagen fan listeners, and we have. I like to think that a lot of the people that are in the car community, or at least people that we know, not like so much the drag racing community, but more just into the old cars. A lot of them are more have more of an artistic thought to them because they like the old cars for the look of it. They like the world of beautiful things. So I think art and old cars kind of go hand in hand anyway. So we probably have a lot of listeners that are in that crossover, I would say.
Yeah.
I know I appreciate art. And I appreciate old cars. And I think I'm not alone in that fact. So,
well, I think we just basically legislated all the creativity out of car design. I mean, back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, there's a lot of design going on. And so
back in the Harley Earl era when the GM had Jetfire and everything was airplane and Art Deco, and it was cool stuff then.
We were just talking about that earlier today, that the current trend is on wheels, is like a black wheel with a machine finish on almost every new car. And it's just kind of like,
and it's horrible.
Yeah, it's like, not that great.
Yeah.
And then everything now, like you said, they regulate it out with the pedestrian crash standards. And
you got to see the blinkers. It can't just be like little decorative dots on the front of the car.
How high the belt line has to be. It's like
headlight height, all that stuff. Can't have beautiful little sleek Euro bumpers on the cars anymore.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to for a while.
But still, like...
That's all right. I'm stuck in the 70s still.
Yeah, well, I'm right with you, so don't worry about it. I have a 2005 pickup truck out of necessity, and everything else is...
Well, that's why we have the 2004 Forester outside.
Right. Yeah.
Because I turn the key and it turns on.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about it in the morning when you leave for work, or, well, in your case... leave for whatever, because you work out of your house.
Yeah, well, I work in my house. Sometimes I got a long ways to go.
That's true. But you're known for taking the bus, so
yeah. Well, hopefully soon. I'm sure you'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm shooting to have the bus be as reliable as the Subaru here.
This is true, but that's a little further down on our question list.
Yeah,
here.
We wanted to...
that's on there though. Don't worry.
Okay, well, just make sure we get to that.
I mean, what was it? I mean, what's it like driving an old vehicle like that? With carbs and a Volkswagen, I mean, it's basically that is essentially the way it was set up from the 40s until they stopped making them. They're all pretty much the same. Like, what was it like driving that car or the bus all the time?
Let me preface that with saying that my bus came fuel injected from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't have an engine when I had it.
Okay.
When I got it, so I ended up putting a Beetle style motor in it.
Yeah.
Upright. And that comes with all the maintenance you'd possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Every time I get up, I go somewhere. I got to check the oil. I got to check everything. Go over everything. I turn the key. Every time I turn the key, there's a moment of hesitation where I say, "Is it going to start? Am I going to have to crawl under it and hit the starter with my mallet? Am I going to have to go out and fix whatever ground has fallen off or anything like that?" But daily driving a 35, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old Volkswagen is, you learn the basic sounds and the basic noises, as I would imagine with any old car.
Oh, yeah.
You just, I say, if you're going to buy an old Volkswagen, you either got to be rich or you got to be greasy. One of the two. You're going to be rich because you have to pay somebody to fix it all the time, and you'll be greasy. Which I took a shower, but you still see all the grease on my hands from today.
It's the same with driving any old car. I think Andrew will attest to the fact that whenever a person is in my car and it makes a weird noise and they say something, i.e. Andrew in this case, I was like, it's fine, don't worry about it. It's fine, it's normal, don't worry about it. It's fine, don't worry. It sounds like your wheel bearing's falling off. No, it's fine, don't worry about it. It's not what it is.
I call it the acceptable level of dysfunction.
Oh, it's exactly what it is. It's you, as long as it gets you from point A to point B, and you have a modicum of trust in that, then it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Well,
What's that noise? Don't worry about it.
On my steering wheel, I've got this little phrase painted right on the horn button, right in the middle. And it's a Swahili phrase. I saw it on some special online on YouTube. And the phrase is Jua Kali, and it's a Swahili word which means in the hot sun. But in American, it translates to basically get her done.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, so if there's any noise or any weirdness on my bus that's, usually you live with, you're going to...
Yeah.
That little thing right square on the horn button says, fix it now. Don't wait. Take care of it. Don't put it off. And that's really the only way my bus gets up and goes every day.
Maybe you should do that, Brad.
I can paint that on your steering wheel, Brad.
I think I need it, actually. I'm going to drop a steering wheel off at your house this winter when the car's in storage.
Sounds
You don't
good.
end up with a bunch of broken cars.
Yeah, I like that story. I'm going to put that. Maybe I'll make a sticker and put it on every window.
It's typically my method. Is if one breaks, I try to fix it right away so that I'm not stuck with more broken
Here's
ones.
the problem.
You have too many
Well, no.
to choose from. I only have 2 cars. If one breaks down, I'm down to 1.
Due to things we can talk about later, for the past couple of years, I've really put things off. And I would say my problem was I would break something, and I'd be like, oh, that's inconvenient. I'll fix it later because I'll drive something else. And then that breaks, and the same story happens again. And next thing you know, you have a yard full of broken pieces of crap. And Andrew makes fun of you for it all the time. And other friends make fun of you for it all the time. And your neighbors don't like it.
Yeah.
But that's what happens, and I've just accepted it.
Well, you would be a very good Volkswagen owner, Brad, because that's how it works with Volkswagen.
I've owned many Volkswagens.
If you were to go just around the street here and go visit my friend Bob, who lives right around the corner, you see he has 7 air-cooled Volkswagens.
See, he's my best friend. I don't even know him.
Yeah, you don't even know him. You've probably seen him.
I think I've met him before.
I think you have met him.
Yeah. He's the green
single cab he imported from Europe.
Yeah, I know. I've met him before.
Green 78. Oh, it's so cool.
It is very cool, yeah.
It's very cool. It's got all sorts of oddball things on it. But, that does happen in the Volkswagen community for sure. You get... see, I don't have the space for it because I've got street parking. But if I had a place to put cars, I would have lots of them.
Well, you can adopt space in my driveway if you need to. So.
Oh, okay.
I offer that to everybody. Doesn't matter.
But yeah, if one breaks down and goes to the next. The nice thing about having them all be Volkswagen is you just take a motor part from one to the other, just swap them. They're all the same.
Which is a nice thing about having Mitsubishis too, because they're also all the same.
Mostly.
Oh, there you go.
All the Colts are. Well, that's the other thing too. Is I find that being the you talked about being the guy with the bus.
Yep.
I'm the guy with the Colt.
Yep.
So when somebody knows about a Colt, the first person that comes to somebody's mind is, oh, I bet Brad would want this old piece of crap.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, you wind up with more.
More Colt.
And you can't turn it down because it's not expensive.
Yeah.
And if you turn it down, it's going to wind up in a junkyard because nobody else wants it. And that's just a horrible thing to have to do. You have to be the savior of all the Colts.
Well, if you save them all, then you don't get to find really cool old junkyards hidden up somewhere.
I become the cool old junkyard.
You are the old junkyard.
Right.
Well, you know what?
There's no cool old junkyard full of Colts except for my house.
That is how the guy that owned the mystery junkyard up in New Hampshire that I posted pictures about, that's how he came about. It's not really a junkyard. It's just a private collection that got way out of hand.
Well, I don't have that kind of space, thankfully.
Acreage.
So, one of my car guy goals is to daily a air-cooled in New England for a whole year.
I've done that.
Yeah, that's one of. I feel that as a car guy,
I would suggest an Eberspacher heater.
Is that the gas-powered heater?
Gas heater. Yeah.
Yes, that is my plan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I want to have this. It's a bucket list thing. I want to have a Beetle, probably a Beetle, not a bus, because they're cheaper and a little bit. I don't call them disposable because I don't feel any old car is disposable. But if I find a later model that I don't feel as bad driving in the winter, basically, I mean, I'll undercoat it and I'll take care of it.
I know a couple of them for sale.
I mean, they have to be like $400 right now in order to make it worth my while. So they're probably not that cheap yet.
Not that cheap.
Maybe in like 6 months we can talk, but right now, no. In 6 months will be the height of winter time. So
you're looking at like mid-90s prices right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Right now it'd be a $400 car.
People are throwing them away.
Yeah, I can't quite do much more than that right now. Again, but that is a future goal of mine to do it at least for a year, and have the gas-fired heater because A, it's dangerous, and B, it's awesome.
Well, I've seen lots of Volkswagens catch on fire, but none of them were due to the gas heater.
Okay.
You can feel safe with the gas heater.
I don't think there's there's no reality in which I feel safe with an open flame inside the cabin of my car.
I have gas heat in my house.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's an open flame. It's natural gas under pressure.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I have propane heat in my house.
10 feet from us right now.
It's the same thing, yeah. Got to trust the technology.
All right, I'll trust it. I mean, again, I'm talking about dailying a Beetle all winter long. I have to trust the lack thereof technology.
Lack of technology, yeah. That will be the most advanced, mechanically complicated thing on the whole Beetle would be this little gas heater.
Yeah. So, how many vehicles have you painted?
I'm on 19 right now. Full vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Painting on vehicles, I'm
Countless.
many hundreds.
Yeah. So, full murals, front, back, left, right, top.
Not necessarily the top, but around.
Okay. Front, left, back, right.
If you were to walk around it, it would be a complete mural.
Are all 19 of those buses?
No. There's a couple of exceptions, like the Witch Doctor van.
That was a Ford Econoline, right?
Yeah. Ford Econoline van, panel van. I've painted on a Rabbit pickup truck.
Which are one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's cool. That lives out on the Outer Banks now, which is pretty fun. And have an excuse to go out there. That's one of the nice things about being a traveling artist, is I paint at these people's houses, and then it becomes a vacation spot.
For free.
For free.
Yeah.
I'll park my bus there.
Yep.
Friendly driveway network.
So is there like an owners group for these people? Are they like, hey, I've got a painted bus by Ken, and like...
There is. I don't know if it's like really active community or anything. They generally know of each other. But
I mean, maybe someday in the future, you know.
Well, a lot of them are clustered around the Carolinas, Virginia, Tennessee, that corner. And as a result, a lot of them do run into each other once in a while. There's a really big camp out that happens every year up in the mountains of North Carolina called High Country Bus Festival. And there's about 200 buses that show up, and they camp for like 11 days next to this river. And it's really wonderful. But as a result, I've had almost, a dozen and a half of my vehicles there at any given year, which is kind of neat to see.
That is pretty cool.
This year, I got hung up doing stuff earlier on in the year, and I wasn't able to organize it. But maybe next year we'll have a painted bus meet down there and have one of the local art schools or something come and document it. But I have interest expressed from some of my vehicles that have ended up in Colorado, another one that's out in California. People in Ohio, Canada are all thinking about coming down for this. I mean, people drive a long ways to go to this camp out.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
I think that's really cool, yeah.
And it would be really cool to have kind of documented it, too.
Yeah, and they have all something that connects them, which is
you
that you painted them. Like,
I'd just be the center of attention all day.
I don't know. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, again, it's, kind of like, this podcast. We don't do it for, like, the attention. We do it because it's something we enjoy. And you don't paint buses to be famous. You paint buses because you enjoy it. And
I paint buses.
And it pays the bills.
Yeah.
It pays some of the bills.
Yeah. You don't live on it, but it's certainly...
Yeah, I definitely don't do it for the intention. I'm 100% an introvert. I don't really crave the attention, but, if it's coming my way,
You're not gonna turn it down.
I won't turn it down.
Yeah. Bucket list painting trips? Anything you really want to do? Is there I really want to paint a bus underneath the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, or is there a bucket list something you'd really like to do?
Well, I've got a potential client in Fairbanks, Alaska, who does Arctic Circle tours, and she's been on the list for a number of years now. Mm-hmm. Logistically, getting my paint and myself and everything up to Fairbanks is an expensive proposition.
Yeah.
And you only have a certain little window of time when you can paint because it's too cold. Mm-hmm. But she's been saving her pennies, and I'll probably try to piggyback it off a visit to my mom's house in Seattle to make it happen. But I think that would probably be on my bucket list for fantastic painting locations.
Have you ever been to Alaska?
I haven't. No.
Me either.
You did in the summertime. You had plenty of daylight to work in, right?
Yeah, I just work all the time.
Yeah, 24/7 for a few weeks.
Yeah, as long as I don't get eaten by a bear or trampled by a moose, I'd be okay.
All right, one more question before we get to the question we alluded to earlier. Is there a community of VW-based artists? or artists that drive VWs? I feel like that would be a thing.
Yeah, I guess there is. Nothing that I can think that's like formally organized, but I would say that most of the people that drive old Volkswagens and have spent time painting it, because there's an awful lot of people out there that paint their Volkswagens with murals, but they do it over the weekend with like 4 or 5 guys and a case of beer and some spray paint.
I'm not even talking murals on their Volkswagens. I'm just talking
Just murals in general.
Just artists. Just Volkswagens seem to attract a different crowd than old Mitsubishis.
Yeah,
and it just seems like it's the crowd to be more of the artistic type.
Well,
I didn't know if there's any kind of like...
I think there's a lot of overlap, but there's nothing really specific for that, no. What I was getting at is the people that spend their time, or the people that have a professional mural artist do it, we generally know of the other vehicles in the area that have been done. I know a lot of people all across the country that do the same sort of thing. There's a guy named Finn out in California who's pretty well known. He raffles them off. He's got a much better business plan than I do. He sells, X number of tickets for it, and he advertises online. He spends like 6 months painting it, and then he'll throw it up and raffle it off to somebody. And one ended up out here in New York City, and another one is out in Hawaii now, and they're all over the place. But
very different art style from yours. Because you have a very distinctive art style with very bold lines separating colors. And it's very...
For your listeners, I'd say probably closest would be like a Peter Max sort of approach. I got really like thick, bold black outlines, really saturated, bright colors. It fits with the Volkswagen look, of course.
Oh, 100%.
I've done things that are a lot more mellow, but my own personal style, I really like saturating everything up big time.
Well, I know if I went down, Artist Row here in Salem, and you told me you painted one mural, I could pick your mural out in a second.
Absolutely.
You have a very distinct style.
That's a good thing, right?
It's an awesome thing. That's a wonderful thing. And I'm no art critic by any stretch of the imagination, but I could pick out a Ken Mitchell original from...
Ken Mitchell original.
A mile away.
It's got a nice sound to it.
Yeah. But honestly, when I get eventually a small pickup truck for Vine, I talked to you about it before. I'm definitely going to have you paint it up for me. So
I look forward to it.
It's going to be a little while, but it's going to happen eventually. So
I'm patient.
Yeah. Last question, Andrew?
Yeah, we want to know about the 78 bus. You're going to do a Subaru swap.
That's right.
What is this Subaru swap to these buses like?
Well,
is it a common thing, or is it?
It's gaining a lot more popularity lately. They really started with the Vanagon community.
Yeah, because they're already water cooled, right?
Well, not only are they water cooled, but I mean, you probably know this, but all the Volkswagens up until a certain point were all boxers.
Yeah,
which is the same as Subaru, of course.
Yep.
And they fit in a Vanagon engine bay like they're designed for it. I mean, it just plugs in and you get twice the horsepower. And, I mean, you get a Kennedy adapter kit for the transaxle. Yeah. But it's really straightforward.
I'm willing to bet there's some engineering sharing there done, or inspiration probably in the beginning of Subaru.
I'm sure there had to be.
Yeah, well, early Subarus were air-cooled as well. The 360 was a air-cooled two-cylinder.
I mean, Axis Powers, I'm sure there was some engineering.
I don't know if we're going to go back to the...
Listen, there probably was some engineering sharing going on, and that's just the way the world works. Just purely engineering,
well, it's a really straightforward, especially here in New England. I mean, I've traveled in other places, and there's just not as many Subarus in other places.
Here they are everywhere.
My family, between my in-laws, between my in-laws and my family and my wife and I, we've had like 17 Subarus in the last 10 years. They're just everywhere.
I feel there's a lot of crossover with air-cooled VW owners having a modern Subaru as another car.
And
I feel like a huge amount of crossover.
And then former Volvo owners.
Oh yeah,
my family were big Volvo owners for a lot of years, and then Volvo's kind of priced themselves out. They went to more of a luxury brand, and I think Subaru slid right in and filled that spot. It's that same sensible, New England quirky car,
get you there when it's snowing out.
Yeah, and it's safe, and not
the wagon market.
Slightly exciting, slightly
fun to drive. But sensible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very
much like a Volvo.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I know my parents have switched to Subarus, and I've purchased a used Subaru for my friend. I've had other ones before. We actually just put a deposit on a 2018 Crosstrek.
Oh, nice.
So there's a new daily driver for Stephanie. So yeah, definitely Subaru crossover, especially here in New England. But regardless, we'll get back to that bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, bus. Well, after a while, people realize that, it's essentially the same transmission on the 80s vans as the 70s vans. The bolt pattern's the same, so you can use the same engine adapter kit.
Okay.
Really, the hang-up is the fact that a lot of the older buses didn't have computers, no brains or anything in them. And they're air-cooled, no radiators.
Yeah.
So what I have to do is I have the Subaru harness all ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's a 94 Legacy, which is still
So is that a
pretty old.
2.2?
That
It
would
is.
be a pre-OBD2.
That's
so
right.
94.
Non-interference, no head gasket issues
So it's a-
necessarily.
Oh, sorry, you said it was a 2.2 liter?
Yep.
Okay. Single cam.
Yep.
The
Really.
single overhead cam Subaru engines are far simpler than the dual overhead cam ones.
Yes.
Like, so much simpler.
Very simple.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
I'm not going out here to become some Subaru mechanic. I just want to turn my key and go.
Yeah.
With the Vanagons, it doubled their horsepower. My bus, I'm probably going to see about 3 times the horsepower.
It's awesome.
Which, at 130 horsepower, still isn't very much. But
You're not going to win any drag races, but you're also going to be able to merge into traffic.
Yeah, you'll
I
move
can
along.
merge
fine.
into traffic.
Yeah.
It'll be delightful.
You'll still get good mileage, too.
But probably the trickiest, right now I'm not getting good mileage because I've hot rodded my motor so that I can go fast in traffic. You go fast or get good fuel economy, one of the two. But the big main part of this conversion that I've got to deal with right now is how to put a radiator in it and where to put it. And there's a lot of different theories on that. Some people put them dual radiators in the engine compartment on either side with fans pulling them in. But I think I'm probably going to put it up underneath the belly of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of companies that kind of specialize in this now. There's a guy out in Colorado called Bussaroo. He just takes the S and the B and the little Subaru logo and switches it around. It works.
Yeah.
And
Well, Subaru backwards is you're a bus.
yes, that too. Yes. But he seems to have had pretty good luck with cooling it using the belly radiator.
Okay.
You
Kind of
get
like
some
a Delica.
Yeah, Delica van is upside down like that, too.
Yeah.
The Mitsubishi, I don't know what kind of van you call it.
It's like a forward control Delica.
It's
So
kind of like a Vanagon. Actually, the white model kit you see right there.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
I've seen those four-wheel drive campers
Exactly.
before.
Yep. Yeah, we have actually a friend of the show, Chris, has imported a
but the radiator is under the front belly,
almost
basically.
facing the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds pretty similar then.
Yeah. Except in the back.
Except for it's in the back, yeah. No, it's, I don't know, there's been enough people that have done it now, and the fact that I'm sticking with the older style motor is going to make it a lot less complicated.
A lot less plumbing for other things.
A lot
no
less
turbos,
plumbing.
no...
Yeah, no turbos, none of that.
Yeah.
Just basic motor that goes fast and, well, relatively fast.
Goes faster.
Faster, and, turns on when I turn the key, Reliability.
They shouldn't generate too much heat to begin with anyways. So as long as you've got enough flow going through it, enough water moving through it, and enough air flowing over
Well,
it.
the Boxer design is inherently a cooler engine anyway. That's why the Volkswagen used it. I mean, because the pistons were put outside of the block on either side in separate sleeves that had cooling fins on them. And the Subarus have a similar design. They just need a little help from...
Yeah, it's got a water jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
So the adapter, is that a common part the guy makes? You just call him up and buy them? Is it like per special order?
It's through Kennedy Engineering. They do all sorts of, Volkswagens have been kind of the test bed for all sorts of engine conversions over there. You could put pretty much any engine in a Volkswagen. Kennedy Engineering realized that right off the bat, and they've been around for years and years and years doing all sorts of different types of engine conversion adapters, and Subaru is just a relatively newer option, I guess. But,
It just makes sense.
Yeah, it fits. First off, most of these other conversions, you got to hack up the metal and try all sorts of creative engineering and stuff. But this, bolts in, goes in, and that's it.
So the engine mounts will fit the way basically original. In the bus, the transmission is fully supported front and back. So when you put the motor in, you can hang it off of that temporarily, but it does have an engine support, and it uses the stock Subaru mounts, and it just goes up, and you bolt it to the frame rails in the back of the bus. Oh, neat.
It's a really, as I keep saying, it's straightforward. It's
then you
really
can probably rotate the manifold, the exhaust manifolds, because they're probably mirrored.
The exhaust manifold, if it was in the Subaru, would be coming out the nose of the vehicle.
Yeah, so you can probably...
It's backwards.
It should be a mirror. I believe they're a mirror. You can just flip it, right? And then it'll...
I don't know. I got the... I got most of the conversion stuff out of a parts vehicle.
Yeah.
Actually down at the junkyard here in Salem.
Right.
That was a score.
Well, he's supportive of our bad habits.
Well, he's supportive of your bad habits. I'm supportive of his bad habits.
He's supportive of your bad habits, too.
He drives 2 Volkswagen buses every day.
Well, he also called me. People listen to the show will know that the Dodge Raider Mitsubishi Montero that I have was a junkyard save.
Yep.
And the only reason I have it is because the owner of the junkyard called me and was like, "Hey, I have this thing that you want."
Yep. And then,
and I was like, "No, you don't." And I went down there and I said, "Yeah, you do."
It was like 2 days later, I was down there and I was looking at the roof rack on it, and I said, "Oh, I should let Brad know about this." And I texted you or Facebook messaged you, and you're like,
and I was like, "I already bought it."
I already bought it.
So I bet, I'm willing to believe, coming out of the heads, I think you could theoretically flip the manifold.
Yeah, they are symmetrical.
Yeah, I think I may be talking to my ass, but I think you can just flip it and face it the other way. Because I know the intakes you can rotate on the turbo cars.
Well, I'm turning the intake around, because otherwise it would just run into my firewall.
Yeah.
In Vannigan's, there's more room.
I think you do the same thing with the manifold. I think you can rotate them.
So all in, not exact to the penny, but what kind of cost are you looking to convert air-cooled bus to a Subaru 2.2?
Well, most people wouldn't get quite the deal that I got on all the parts.
So skip the parts car deal. Assume a $500 parts car.
Okay, $500 parts car. I think you probably have another, $1,200 into adapters and getting the engine carrier and the manifold flipped around and the engine mounts. But as I said, I got all that for relatively inexpensive.
Right.
I think if you were to hire somebody to go out and do it, you'd be looking at about $5,000-$6,000. Me, I might be into it $800.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, the wiring harness.
Yep.
Did you pull just the engine harness? Or did you pull part of the body harness of the car for the ECU?
Well, again, I was lucky. The engine, the transmission, all the pieces and stuff actually came out of a very rotten Vannigan. So a lot of the stuff's already been done. The harness has already been taken care of.
Okay.
Okay, so you bought
I bought
a used Vannigan that had already been converted.
That's right.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I'm curious to know how you modify the harness and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the harness basically...
I like wiring stuff.
Yeah, well, I do too.
You guys are a rare breed then. Cause...
I just prefer not to do it if I don't have to.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see how somebody builds a harness.
Kennedy Engineering offers it's a pretty neat little thing. You can print it out, but it's a full-size 1-to-1 scale wiring loom diagram. And basically you just unwrap all the wires, and you lay them out. You kind of position it along this diagram on the ground, and it it's got all the things just for the motor, but you can get rid of a lot of stuff too.
Yep.
I mean, the engine that I had air conditioning and cruise control and all these other things, and I don't need power steering because there's no power steering.
Yep.
I get rid of the power steering, get rid of the AC compressor, get rid of all the hoses.
Yep. So that
and it makes it really simple.
Just the alternator sitting on top of a Subaru engine. Then,
it looks very much like an upright Volkswagen.
It
motor.
does.
Yeah, it looks very similar.
I mean, there's only so many ways you can engineer a boxer engine. So
yeah, and right now I think I've got about 4 or 5 wires I have to identify, and I know what they end up going to, but I got to figure out which of them goes there. But it's just like the dashboard wires, the wire to the radiator, just a handful of other things, but there's really not that much left to do as far as the harness
Wired
goes.
to the radiators for like a temp sensor.
Yeah. Something
And
like
then what do you do about fuel? Do you add a inline electric pump?
I probably will. Yeah. My bus right now, the fuel pressure is 2.5 psi to run on the carburetors.
It's awesome.
Yeah, you probably need 35, 40 for...
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm probably just going to rob one out of a junkyard Subaru. Whatever fuel pump I could find.
Or like he said, you can get
probably have to be an
inline
inline.
electric, like a Bosch
Yeah.
one. You just put you put a feed line in the tank.
I like robbing the junkyard though.
I get it.
All the hoses and all the.
I get it, but I think the reason he's saying an inline one is because it requires no thought. You don't have to adapt an in-tank pump to
that's right. Yeah, Subaru's got them in tank. I forgot about that.
Most modern cars will be in tank.
You can buy a universal.
You can tell I don't work on modern cars very enough, Andrew.
You can buy a universal inline pump that will just. You just snip the lines in two places and put it in between. And
They'll even tell you, if you go to like Jags or Summit, it'll be like, this is for fuel injection, and this is blah, blah, blah. And
yeah, exactly.
it's
It's
just
got
got
to find
barb
out
fittings.
whatever PSI the Subaru
Well, you get one of
wants.
those, and then you get
A regulator.
an inline regulator to go after it. I mean,
Well, that's how I get 2.5 PSI with the regulator.
So you already have the regulator, you just got to crank it up a little
I mean,
bit.
if you were to run a stock Volkswagen mechanical fuel pump, you're getting like 5 or 6 PSI.
Okay.
The dual carbs that I had on there would not run on 6 PSI. You need
That
like
needed less.
2.
Oh, okay.
1.5, 2. I've got it at 2.5.
Because you're running two carbs versus one carb and splitting it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Low pressure,
I
which
like
is
it.
nice. Yeah.
So then
Which is
I'll
nice,
use
but
a...
You're still using a lot of fuel because two carbs.
So I'll use the Volkswagen transmission, which is, 4-speed?
Yep.
But you can run a Subaru clutch and flywheel.
Yep. Yeah. That's part of the adapter kit. They do include that. I think for clearance reasons and stuff like that. But they sell all those parts through Kennedy. But I know a lot of people use whatever they have on hand and kind of botch it together.
And it works.
And it works. Just make sure it's not hitting
The bell housing
The
or
bell
the conversion
housing.
part. Yeah.
Yeah, or you could do it like old Volkswagens do and put a flywheel in there. It's a little big and just run it until it clearances
Run
itself.
until it clears. Yeah, I like it.
It's only magnesium. It'll go away.
Unless it flints and makes a fire.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Volkswagen cases do make awesome bonfires.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I've got one sitting in the parts car at my parents' house.
Yeah, don't look directly at the bonfire when you do that.
Blue.
I think just about everybody's had like family members or something. Like just about everyone knows someone that owned an air-cooled car at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They're
I
just
think
so
it's
ubiquitous.
It's going to start to fall off as we go along in time,
Yeah,
obviously. But
definitely our parents' generation, the boomer generation.
Everybody has a story.
Everybody
I'll tell
had
you,
one.
Anytime I go to anywhere, stop at a gas pump, stop at CVS, stop wherever, somebody's going to come out. I guarantee it. They'll come over and tell me a story.
Yeah.
Which, I'm never in a big hurry. It's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
a good
nice.
thing you're a laid-back guy. 'Cause I have the same,
I'm too hurried.
I have the same thing when driving an old car. It brings out everybody's your friend all of a sudden.
Apparently, a lot of people owned Colts.
Yeah, they did. They were an economy car. Just like you'll go out and buy a Civic today, people go out and buy a Colt, and
Which is pretty much what a Beetle was at the time.
Exactly.
I mean,
Kind box,
yeah, my mom had one. Then she went to Europe backpacking and lent it to my grandmother, and she liked it so much she bought one.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm from a rarer, family here because neither of my parents ever owned Beetles.
really,
My father had some as junks in the backyard with potty shop, and we had a MG kit car that was based on one, which is pretty terrible.
MG kit car.
can see
Oh,
that.
weird.
Yeah,
They make everything into a kit car.
yeah.
I was at the Vacationland VW show earlier this year,
Yep.
and they had a Bugatti.
Okay.
Bugatti.
Oh, Bugatti. I like it.
It looked like a Bugatti,
I like it.
but it had an air-cooled motor and chassis underneath.
My
I've been to the show at the candy shop there. In,
Hebert. It used to be the
Shrewsbury?
Volks. Yeah,
the Volkswagen.
It used to be the Volks.
Volkswagen, because it was Volkswagens and Corvairs.
Yeah, and now the Corvair has disassociated themselves.
Oh,
from
has
us.
it?
And now it's just Volkswagens. This year there were 3 lowly Corvairs sitting in the parking lot. by
Wondering where the
themselves.
rest of them went?
Well, yeah.
Well, again, I went there with the NSU, and they parked me originally with the kit cars
No.
because they didn't know where to put me.
Yeah.
And then
you can win every category or win every show you want as long as you're in your own category. Brett.
correct. And then they moved me because the kid car guys complained. And I'm not going to win any trophies. The car's not a trophy car. It's just a car.
Yeah.
I didn't even enter it to win trophies. I didn't care. But the kid car guys complained.
Yeah, of course
and they
did.
put me over with the Type 3s.
No, that works.
And then Type 3 guys complained. And the show organizer told them to pound sand, and I was going to stay parked there because they already moved me once.
Yeah.
I know, like, my cousin's father-in-law, they were big into Manx.
Yep.
So
Which I kind of want one.
they because they were originally from, I was told they were originally from San Diego area, Southern California. So they actually bought them from
Bruce?
Bruce Manx. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. They were like personal
Bruce
friends of
Myers.
them and stuff. Bruce Myers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they would.
That's a cool story.
Yeah. Then they moved out to the Yuma area because they wanted to use them in the dunes, and it's cheaper to live there and retire in Yuma than it is in Southern California. So
That would be a nice winter car for you, Brett. Get a
well,
little cover
I'm
for
going
it.
to go with the Beetle because I
Get
have
a
metal
cover
doors.
for it, and then there you go.
Yeah, I'm not down with the open cockpit winter
there's
car.
a Baja style Beetle in the neighborhood next door here. I see walking the dog.
A Baja Beetle would be wonderful for an all-year car with some big snow tires in the back of it. And
you said you remember my '64 Bug when
I do the aqua blue one.
Yeah, I always wanted to go with the Class 11 look for that.
Just jack it up.
Just
just stock sheet
all
metal.
stock running gear, but off-road tires, look kind of beefy. Throw some lights on it.
I have that in my head. I have that internal argument all the time. Like if I had a Beetle, would I want to go Class 11 or would I want to go like SoCal look?
Yeah, well,
They both a cool look.
Yeah, I liked my Beetle because it was like that really cool
Had a cow look.
cow look. I
Yeah.
even had the cow look logo thing. I took it off, but
Yeah.
it definitely had that look about it. But I've never been a cow look sort of person. I keep buying all these damn Volkswagens that are quarter inch off the ground.
Well, that's how everybody out here has them, so you can't stop it. Hey, your bus was low. when you bought it.
Everybody's obsession in New England is California. So
Yeah.
everybody wants to go to California.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm okay here. Sorry to your California listeners. I like snow.
I know, but there's a lot of people I grew up with, like, you just want to go to California. Just
We want to go out where it doesn't snow. That's what it is.
I like snow.
Ugh, yeah. Ugh.
Got a Subaru. I'm all right.
Yeah. Oh. I have a vehicle that's good in the snow too. I still hate it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So let's we can wrap this one up. You're welcome to stay for this second half if you want. We're going to do some.
that's a secret, Andrew. We don't record the next episode the same night.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
It doesn't
No.
matter.
I've learned the inside secrets here.
Yeah.
The basement.
So
secret.
you're welcome to hang out. We're going to go over some project car updates and
Listener questions.
answer some listener questions. But for now, Brad, where can people find you?
Find me on Instagram at TSISS350
Yep.
or Vintage Imports of New England.
All right. Ken, where people can find you if they want. Do you have a Painted Bus Facebook page? Or?
Yeah, I've got Painted Bus Facebook. I've got Painted Bus on Instagram.
Okay.
Just look Painted Bus.
And we'll link it when we
Yeah,
show up.
definitely
link it.
So you can have it.
You can follow the podcast, Auto Off Topic, on Instagram. You can follow me, Race and Anger, on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook, Auto Off Topic Podcast. Of course, you're listening to us probably on iTunes or whatever podcast app of your choice. But if you're using iTunes, if you go rate and review us, that would be helpful. And as always, thanks for listening, and keep your cars analog.